Yo, what's popping? Taking a look at the third matchup of the Midseason Madness tournament between the Hangzhou Spark and the Philadelphia Fusion. Two teams who underwent pretty similar storylines in stage two. So, Spark, a second in the East with 10 points, a 9-3 record, and a plus 15 map differential, whereas Philly are fourth with 8 points because they made it to the finals, right, of the last tournament. 6-6 record and a +1 map differential. So Spark, pretty large roster with Gushway, Architect, Shy, Liga, Bernard, Pineapple, Alpha, Arnie, and Super Rich, all of which have actually seen playtime at this point. And Philly with a smaller roster of Carpe, MN3, Zest, Fury, Aim God, Fixa, and Belosaria. All of them have seen playtime as well. However, MN3 has stepped in and taken some of that Carpe playtime. He was getting your push maps, he was getting the control maps. MN3's kind of taken that, and he's looked better. He's looked good. I don't know if Carpe is going to get very many maps at all anymore because MN3 has that potential. So taking a look at the at how these teams have went last stage and the tournament, I'm not going to talk about stage one because it doesn't really matter at this point between them. But looking here, the kickoff clash tournament, Spark immediately out, the first team out. They lose to Philly 3-1 after beating Philly the week prior, and then they lose to the eventual winners of Seoul Dynasty 3-0. Stage two, they start off hot and they beat the Charge and the struggling Shanghai Dragons 3-0 each. Then they lose to Philly 3-2, lose to Seoul 3-0, and then they look good again and they beat Chengdu 3-0 and Valiant 3-1. So a bit they started at a high, but Shanghai didn't look good and they played an easy team. So the high was not a real high. It wasn't that we had faith in the Spark. It was more so Shanghai looked bad, like really bad. And so Shanghai rose up above them in power ranking. And then that middle week, losing to Philly is never a good look because Philly had just lost their first two matches, and then losing to Seoul, it's Seoul. So what are you going to do? But you'd maybe want something a bit closer. But then final week, they find themselves again. They beat the upward trending Chengdu Hunters and the LA Valiant, who have struggled this stage really. So they only have really one solid win against the Chengdu Hunters, who were looking good, but all their other three wins are kind of Mickey Mouse. Like they're not they're not inspirational. Beating the Charge and the Valiant are not inspiring wins, and beating Shanghai whenever they have no clue what they're doing and they look lost isn't spectacular either. So it depends on how much stock you want to put in them. Kind of rolling Chengdu and looking like better than like whenever Chengdu played against Seoul or even Shanghai, there was more play kickback from Chengdu, but the Spark here looked very strong and they looked demanding. And it, I don't know, they looked very strong. They knew what they were doing. They gave Gushue some playtime again because all of the earlier stage two, those prior four matches, Gushue had zero playtime. They had lost faith in him. He comes in against Chengdu and he pounds. He was doing spectacular. And if they've successfully incorporated Gushue into this roster, it's looking very good for them because like Pineapple isn't really going to get playtime. Liga isn't going to get playtime. Architect shouldn't get playtime. They were experimenting with him on the Ana. I don't like it very much. Uh so they've kind of settled down. They figured out what they like. They've given some rights back to Gushue, and it is looking good for Spark. However, on the other side for the Fusion is also looking good. Kickoff Flash tournament, of course, they beat Spark, then they beat the Dragons, and then they get rolled by Seoul in the finals 4-0. Then coming into stage two, they lose to both the Valiant and Chengdu, 3-2 to Val, 3-1 to Chengdu. They beat the Spark 3-2, then they go back to losing, and they lose against Shanghai 3-0, and they look really bad. They get their free win against the Charge, and then they actually beat the Seoul Dynasty because MN3 has a spectacular performance, maybe the best Ashe gameplay I've ever seen in Overwatch League. It was spectacular, right? But is that sustainable? Is that sustainable going into this tournament? The easy answer is no. MN3 hadn't shown anything really like that. Like I think MN3 was a solid rookie. He was doing his part, but he was never like top rookie. If he continues to play like that, or even like similar to that level throughout the rest of this tournament, throughout the rest of this regular season, he's almost a lock for rookie of the year. Who his biggest competition is like Proper, maybe Zest, who has looked all right, or he's looked really good in stage one, but he's kind of died down a bit this stage, as all of Philly has, or Alpha Yi even. whose Tracer gameplay has actually gotten better as the stage went on. I was a big fan of Alpha U Tracer towards the end there. Um, but this matchup is going to be intense because these teams, we see their records. 3-2 for Spark first, and then they lose to Philly 3-1, and then they lose to Philly 3-2 again. So right now, Philly has the season advantage over them 2-1. But every time these two teams clash, whether it be kind of a toilet bowl as it was in stage two, as both these teams were not very good, or a epic battle in stage one, um, it's normally a pretty decent series to watch. The kickoff clash one is a little Philly sided, but there was some trolling there by Spark as well. Uh, I don't know. I feel like Philly has higher highs right now. It's just a matter of if they will hit those highs going to the tournament. If they're a team that continues this momentum they have from beating Seoul, they're very scary. I think this might be the highest peak team in the league on Philly. Maybe there's a pretty solid chance. Uh, their weaker portion being Aim God maybe is their weakest link here. Whereas Spark's weakest link is just team play in general. I guess it's also the backline to an extent. I think. Oh, this is a tough matchup. This is actually a really tough matchup. I want to give my advantage right now to Spark, maybe. I feel like MN3 is not going to be able to reciprocate that performance. And I don't know how serious Seoul were in that final match of the stage. I feel like they may have been taking it a little bit easy because they were like, whatever. Um, Whereas Spark actually looked super good as Chengdu were still in the race and they were still trying very hard to make it in. Um, so I'm maybe going to put more weight into that Chengdu win than the Seoul win, even though Seoul are the best team in APAC without a doubt, right? Or they have been so far. I want to believe that Spark are going to even out this series, the season series 2-2, and find Fusion. Because even if MN3 does play very well, there's just an equalist chance that Shy plays just as well or better. Uh, um, yeah, sure. I'll run it. I'll run Spark. But there's no wrong answer here. Very gonna be. There could be a Philly roll. There could be a Spark roll. It could be in the middle. I couldn't tell you. I'm gonna say the Spark. Maybe that's some Spark fan stuff going in. Maybe there's some of that, but Philadelphia's inconsistencies make it very hard for me to predict them as a team ever. They're 6-6. They're even, right? There's a 50-50 chance they're gonna win. Uh, my hat landed on Tails. So let me know your thoughts on this matchup. Like this video if you like it. Comment down below your thoughts on the matchup. I guess I already said that, but whatever. Subscribe for more daily LG content and have yourself a good one. Thank you so much for watching.